As I see it, I live in a country with the possibility of becoming a great success and the likelihood of becoming a morass. The difference is made by people. Some people, and some ways of thinking, build. Others wreck. You have to call out the wreckers. What a revolting sound the radio was emitting. Plural, strong, rampant voices pounding a solitary, small, soft one into something that brought the word extinction to mind. Didn't she realize that she had nothing to say? That she couldn't just have views like entitled people? Views on her country as if it was, her country? Didn't she realize she was white and Afrikaans? Her day was over. Her job was to close her mouth. My ears read the body language and it didn't look pretty. Very un-African. Generosity of spirit is Africa's long suit. Where was that generosity here? Slipped through the studio floorboards. These guys were intellectuals, it's true, but that's only half an excuse. They were sour. They were alarming too. Do we now face another decade, a double decade, a generation, a century of knickers twisting into useless aggro-generating knots about days gone by? Seems to me some factors are missing from the current fusillade of guilting. It's right to be revolted by past atrocities. It's right to be revolted that history was what history is. A brutal, primitive place of tribes and clans and creeds beating each other up where they could, or where they had to, or where they thought they could, or thought they had to. But nowhere is guilt road a one way. My Catholic Irish relatives have a 400-year-old grudge about my Protestant forebears smashing their lot to pieces. But turn then to the tortures and burnings that they administered when they were on top, and there is no room for righteousness. Anyone wanting to tell me that I must live in sackcloth because my forebears who came from Europe beat up his forebears who came from Central Africa had better be in sackcloth about his forebears beating up the Khoi who'd been here since Homo sapiens, or it doesn't count. There's no morality in waxing heated over Joe's sins and then coming to Jack's and saying, he looks more like me, so his wrongs are okay. It's problematic also to blame anyone for sins that weren't sins at the time that they were committed. The outlook we now take for granted, that the human race is big and wide and all of it warrants respect and acceptance, that's new. It's startlingly new. My life stretches only 20% back to when records of these parts began, and it started in a world that took the differences, ethnic, tribal, religious, Jewish and Catholic, gereformeerde and hervormde, plenty differences, as massive major things. I'm then to hold my granddad guilty because he as a trade unionist discriminated between races? Forget it. You might hold his times guilty of giving him and his contemporaries of every complexion a short-sighted view of their unfolding world. But then, how can any time know what a later time is going to know? He'd have thought that his grandfather's view was short-sighted. Do you think our grandchildren will reckon that we got things right? No chance. They'll blame us for stuff we can't imagine yet. Maybe also some stuff that we can. That millennium era, how they send skills scuttling away, saboteurs. Best we can do is to reduce our descendants' need to blame. It's no help the previously enfranchised crowd curling up in a corner whimpering. It's right to treat the country as our country, person for person, no whit less than anyone. It's right to put effort into making it work fair and square. Do that for justice, do it for decency, and do it because you pretty damned urgently want some contentment around you. No help either getting shouted at for being born wrong. But hang on in, this too shall pass. The last bunch of racists have already chomped up their humble pie. The next one is in the oven. A special thank you to everyone who's been kind enough to send warm comments and encouragement, who's shared and liked these wry yarns. Thank you. And especially to our very generous patrons, those kind folk who buy us a regular coffee every month to help keep us on the road. It's very much appreciated, and we're heartened and encouraged by your kind generosity. Siyabonga kakhulu.